Good morning, everybody. Welcome aboard once again to e-bike adventures with Freight Dog Danny. We are not going anywhere in particular today, but we are going to do a range check on my Aventon Aventure bike. I've been wanting to do this for quite a while. I wanted to do it when I have secured a second battery. Aventon had a sale earlier in the summer on their e-bike batteries at about $200 off. They're normally $400, and they had them priced at $199, and unfortunately I hesitated and missed the boat. So I'm having to do this battery check, or correction, the range check with only one battery, and I'm going to run it till it quits. So what the plan is I'm going to do 25 miles out on the road, and then I'm going to return to our starting point, which is Fort St. Clair, where we are right now, and I'm going to stick close to the park and then run it until it pretty well quits. The way that these bicycle companies run their range checks, they do them under the most ideal conditions. So that's going to be like a level test track, no wind, and a lightweight rider. Now Aventon claims 45 miles for this particular bike, and I'm sure that's with a 100-pound rider, maybe 150 pounds at max. And I tipped the scales at almost twice that, at almost 300 pounds. So I don't expect to get anywhere near that 45 miles. But to be perfectly honest with you, I already know the outcome. I recorded this video the other day, and I was pretty surprised with the results, so I hope you stick around and see what it's going to be. But the first part of the video was unacceptable. Somewhere in the handling of my camera, I inadvertently changed the view to a narrow view, and all you could see was the immediate handlebar area. You had no peripheral, and you couldn't see out to the front. So I took a break at the halfway mark. Morning. I took a break at the halfway mark, and I saw what the video looked like. So we're just going to repeat that first 10 or 12 miles. Now, the entire range check took just over 2 hours. I don't expect you to sit through 2 hours of video and me yammering on just to see what the result is. So what we're going to do is I will pause the video about every 5 to 10 miles and then come back and give you an update with the percentage of battery power and the distance that we've covered thus far. And that way we'll keep the video short. Now my longest ride up to this point has been just over 20 miles, 20.4 miles. And I had 34% of the battery remaining. But when I normally record these videos,
1 mile completed.
I don't pedal at all.
Current speed 13.2 miles.
And that way you don't have to listen to me huffing and puffing.
13 miles per hour.
And you don't get this sideward motion that we're going to see today. But for this range check, I'm in pedal assist 3. I'm not using the throttle at all. It's just me pedaling the whole way. And it's quite a workout, really. For those of you new to e-biking, yes, you can get exercise while on an e-bike. What happens is that the pedal assist, and this bike has 5 levels of pedal assist. Once you start pedaling, the cadence sensor senses that you're pedaling, and the motor kicks in to help you the amount appropriate to that level of pedal assist. And as long as you're changing gears and increasing the resistance, you are getting more exercise. However, you're going faster and farther, and you're not working as hard to do it. But I can tell you from the way I feel after each ride, I am definitely getting a workout, and hopefully going to be losing some weight over the rest of the summer and the fall before we have to put these bikes away for the winter. We're located in Preble County, Ohio, in the city of Eaton, and we just started from Fort St. Clair, which is a post-Revolutionary War fort on what was then the Northwest Territories and the Wild West. We'll talk more about that later. Now, this is a non-political channel, so pay no attention to this political yard sign that's coming up on the right. And we're going to turn the corner here in just a little bit once we get past this construction, and then we're going to pause the video. It's a beautiful morning, although it's cloudy and threatening to sprinkle a little bit, but it's only about 69, 70 degrees, and kind of high humidity. It's a little bit muggy, but still pretty comfortable, and a good day for a ride. We're getting started at just after 9 o'clock, which is unusual for me. This is a good time to bike. Whoa!
Workout paused.
Trying to get around where I can see the traffic, and I hit the front brake and almost flipped over. Okay, here we go.
Workout resumed.
Okay, so like I said, we're going to pause the video, and I'll see you in about another I don't know, 8 miles or so. See ya. Okay guys, hi. This is what we call, at this point, an illustrative point. I've been harping in all of my previous videos, as have other e-bike YouTubers, that if you're gonna fall on these bikes, particularly for us seasoned citizens, it's gonna be when you stop, you're low speed maneuvering or doing one of those slow 180-degree turns. In this particular case, I had to stop. I didn't plan it. I didn't have very much room. It was a construction area. And so I came to a stop on a slight downward incline. I was holding the front brakes. I had slid off the front seat, had both feet on the ground, and I was attempting to maneuver to the left so that I could see the traffic. And in doing so, my center of gravity shifted forward, and the rear wheel came off the ground, and I came as close to falling as I ever have on these bikes. I've been riding now for just over 300 miles, and I've never come this close to falling. And so it just proves a point that it can certainly happen, and it catches you when you least suspect it. And I just should have planned a little bit better, so let's be careful out there. Hey, welcome back, guys. I know I said we'd be recording again after about 10 miles, but we're not quite there. The reason being was we are approaching one of Preble County's covered bridges that you've seen if you've seen my first video. And this is the Chrisman Bridge that is over the 7 Mile Creek. So we'll pause briefly so that you guys can get a good look at it. Preble County has 8 covered bridges, 6 of which are still in daily operation. 2 are located in parks because of storm damage or vandalism damage. And we have 1 more that was damaged due to some knucklehead driving an oversized truck through it a couple of years ago. And so it's still undergoing repairs. So we're actually down to 5 bridges that are in daily operation now. But all these bridges were built anywhere between 1829 and 1796. This particular bridge, the Chrisman Bridge, was built in 1895. And I think we're particularly blessed to have them here in Preble County. We have more covered bridges than any other county in the state of Ohio and maybe the country. You know, that Madison County, Iowa, that the Bridges of Madison County movie was made after several years ago with Meryl Streep and Clint Eastwood. That county, I think, only has 5 bridges at max, and we've got 8. So we're pretty lucky. And there's covered bridges all over Ohio. But I looked around my neighboring counties, and they have bridges too. However, most of them are on private property or are otherwise inaccessible, and they don't have regular road traffic anymore. They're no longer certified to have traffic through them. So we're pretty lucky here in Preble County, and so I'm trying to show you as many of them as we can. Anyway, once we get through the bridge, I'm going to pause the video once again, and I'll meet you where I broke the video before, where I took a break, and that is at a World War II Sherman tank that is in the front of Fort St. Clair Park. And so we'll pause there and talk a little bit about it, and then we will pick the video back up where I filmed it the other day. So let's go through the bridge. Now, this is one of the medium-sized bridges that we have here in Preble County.
Workout resumed.
But take a look at these timbers. They're all pretty good size. And there's one bridge that's in a park in southern end of the county. That's Houston Woods, and it too has regular road traffic every day, and it's a double-barreled bridge, which also has 2 pedestrian walkways on it. So we'll get to that here in another video in the future. But at this, we will meet you at the Sherman tank. Hey guys, welcome back again. We haven't gone very far, but I got so busy talking about the bridge that I neglected to give you a progress check. So let me get back to the biking program. And here we go. We're at 8.7 miles, and we're at 93% battery power. Now, it drops off pretty rapidly as we go along. It's not at all linear. It's a 4-way stop here, so I got the right of way. Anyway, like I was saying, the battery discharge rate is not at all linear, and after we get past 50%, it really drops off. Since this is a recreation, this first part of the video is essentially pretty similar to what I did the other day. It's the back half that really matters, and when we get down below 10%. Morning. So anyway, once again, we will pause the video. If I can get back to the camera program, there we go. Hey guys, welcome back. We are at the Sherman tank in front of Fort St. Clair Park, and we are now at 11.4 miles, and we have 88%, 89% battery power remaining. Like I said the last time, I took a break here halfway through, and I saw that the view of my camera was on a narrow view, so that's why we're having to re-record all of this. Now, being a career military and airline pilot, we are checklist oriented, and I have not taken that over to my e-biking just yet. And by the way, isn't that a badass looking bike? This is the Aventon Aventure, which is last year's version. They've since come out with the Aventure 2, which has a couple of differences. The main one being that the Aventure 2 has a torque sensor as opposed to the cadence sensor that is on this one. The cadence sensor merely senses when you are pedaling, and the motor kicks in appropriate to the pedal assist level that you have in, and the torque sensor senses how much effort you're putting into the pedaling, so you have to work harder to get the motor to kick in. At my age and conditioning level, I think I like the cadence sensor at this point. Now, I've never ridden the torque sensor, so time will tell. Once my conditioning improves, I may feel differently about it and want to get a torque sensor, so time will tell. I didn't finish my train of thought on a couple of things in the first part of the video, one being the parameters for this. I am pedaling all the time in pedal assist 3, and it's all me. Like I said, when I'm recording, what I like to try to do is I use throttle, and that way you don't have to hear me huffing and puffing, and you don't get the swaying motion back and forth from my pedaling. It makes for a much more pleasant video. But for this range check, I feel it necessary to go ahead and pedal the whole way and not use any throttle, so forgive me for that. Like I said, the previous ride that I had, the longest ride, was 20.4 miles, and that was a combination of both pedaling and throttling. So I'm not sure exactly what the percentage was, but just to be fair, half pedaling, half throttling, and that gave me a battery remaining of 34% after 20.4 miles. So that's not too bad, but this is all pedaling today. So like I said, I already know the result of this since I finished it the day before yesterday. But stick around and you'll see what my total mileage is in time for the day. And I think you'll be surprised. For a big guy like me, I think I carried this thing, or it carried me, a surprising distance. But certainly not the full 45 miles that Aventon claims. But anyway, back to the Sherman tank. This Sherman tank, World War II era M4 Sherman tank, which was the main battle tank for the majority of World War II. And this one used to sit in front of the National Guard Armory here in Eaton. And the National Guard unit deactivated some years ago, and the armory was sold into private hands, and the tank disappeared. Through a massive effort of Eaton and Preble County residents, somehow they relocated the tank and managed to get it back. Now, while it was sitting in front of the armory, at some point in its past, some knucklehead decided to paint it in a god-awful lime green or grass green that looked awful, not at all World War II authentic. But when we got the tank back, they saw fit to go ahead and paint it in the official colors, or more reminiscent of World War II, so it looks authentic. Now, the only complaint that I have about this whole thing is that there are no signs around the tank putting it into historical context, because Lord knows the way that they teach history today for kids, I'm sure that there's some kids that are thinking that we were fighting the Indians in 1790 with Sherman tanks. So it would be nice to have a sign put up telling a little bit about the tank and where it used to sit in front of the National Guard Armory that their fathers and grandfathers served in, and it would just be nice. Anyway, the Sherman tank, like I said, was the main battle tank during World War II, and at the beginning of the war was actually superior to anything that the Japanese or the Germans had. But by 1943, the Germans developed much larger, heavy tanks with thicker armor and a bigger gun. And so the Sherman was outclassed in almost every respect by the time we hit the beaches in Normandy in 1944. By the end of the war, they had made some upgrades with the armament, but we built somewhere around the lines of 44,000 of these tanks, and we supplied these tanks to our British, Canadian, Australian, and Russian allies in the thousands. And as we were sweeping across Europe after D-Day, the Germans did not have nearly the numbers of tanks that we did. And plus, we had the industrial capacity to build them and replace them as they were destroyed. And so we simply outnumbered them. We swarmed over them, and we took tremendous casualties in these tanks. And if you want to see an example of what it was like to be a crewman on one of these tanks, the Brad Pitt movie Fury is an excellent movie to show you some of the horrors of war and serving inside these tanks. So, at any rate, it's a great tribute to World War II. Like I said, it would be nice to have a sign out here, and you know, they could expand this. They certainly have the room. They could make it a Veterans Memorial Park with some more artifacts from World War II. So, on that note, let's go ahead and pause the video, and we will pick it back up with where I was the other day, and stick around to see the outcome of this, not mileage check, but range check for the Aventon Aventure. See ya. Okay guys, sorry about that. While I was taking my break, the bicycle display decided to shut down, and so I just had to restart it. The battery was still going, but again the display just shut down, so I had to restart it. Okay, obviously we're going by Fort St. Clair again, but we're not going to go inside. We're going to hit the open road. And it's all going to be on country road, so this traffic should leave us behind. Or I guess more correctly, we will leave the traffic behind. Now first on our stop, we're going to, or on our route, we're going to go around the high school. We're just doing that to add a little bit of distance to our ride, and then we'll be out on the country roads. Or never mind that, nobody's behind me. We'll go through this little neighborhood, which does the same thing. It's a real nice, quiet neighborhood, and just adds about another mile to our total distance. So, we are just now at 12 miles. We're down to 78% battery power. So I think we're doing pretty good. So again, in interest of keeping the video short, I'm going to pause the video, and I'll be back with you another 5 or 10 miles. Hey guys, I'm back again. We just went over 15 miles and we're at 66% battery power remaining. So I think we're doing at least as good as I did the other day. Now we're back on the country roads in farm country. Got soybeans on the left and field corn to the right of us. I'm by no means a farm kid. Come from a long line of farmers. However, I never lived on a farm. I do have some cousins. I spent some summers on their farm in Missouri, but we were there just having fun, and I didn't take the time to learn the difference between field corn and sweet corn. I guess about 90% of the corn grown in the United States is field corn, with most of that going to animal feed and things like high fructose corn syrup and things of that nature. But I looked it up the other day on Wikipedia, and sweet corn doesn't grow nearly as tall and has a smaller stalk than field corn. So I think what we got on our right here is actually field corn. I think there's a field coming up ahead where we can compare the sweet corn to the field corn on both the right and left sides of the road. So we'll see. Again, like I said, I'm by no means claim to be a farmer in any way, shape, or form, but I do loves me some sweet corn. Now, with that in mind, due to my prodigious body and pendulous belly, I was recently inspired to try a new diet. A friend of mine that I flew with in the Army, in Army pilot training way back in 1975. The last several years we've reconnected on Facebook, and he started watching my videos. And he had gotten to a maximum weight of about 322 pounds, and he tried the carnivore diet, which I guess is an extreme form of keto or paleo diets, where you cut out all fruits and vegetables for the most part and just stick to meat and cheese and eggs and fish. And I just got started on it. Now he lost 48 pounds in 2 months, and he's still going strong on it. And so I thought I'd give it a try, so I just got started yesterday. And so I gotta finish me off a ribeye steak that I started on last night with a few sauteed onions. You know, that's about the extent of the vegetables that you can get into on this diet. So we'll see how it goes. Now, of course, Mrs. Freight Dog is not on that diet, and she is in recovery mode from surgery, like I told you before. One of the things she's having trouble with is because they went in to her spine through the front, so they had to move everything else around. So even 2 months later, or not 2 months, about a month and a half, her esophagus is still very swollen and inflamed, and she has a hard time swallowing anything. So it's pretty much a liquid diet: mashed potatoes, yogurt, cottage cheese, She recently started chewing the heck out of McDonald's chicken nuggets until it's almost liquid form, and she can get them down, but it's still difficult. But I don't think she's going to be consuming many ribeye steaks and bacon and things of that nature for a while, so I'm going to be on my own. But we'll see how this goes. I'd been on the Noom diet for a while, and I had some success initially, but I grew kind of tired of it. But I thought I'd give this a try and see how it goes. Now, of course, that means giving up all alcohol, and I do enjoy some good wine from time to time. So we're gonna have to put that on the back shelf for a while and see how this weight loss goes. Hopefully, combined with the bike riding, it'll do the trick. Now you'll notice I've got on Day Glow Orange, and that is SPF protected, and on those areas of the skin that's still exposed, I do have on SPF 50 sunscreen, which I absolutely hate. It's not too bad today, but when I'm out mowing the lawn, I get all the dust, dirt, and grass sticking all over my arms and legs. But I've had a 20-year bout with skin cancer, and I've lost count of how much I've had cut off my body. Somewhere north of 20 different times I've had pieces sliced off of me, mostly from my face and scalp, with a few on other parts of my body. But so far, knock on wood, it's all been squamous cell and basal cell, which once they cut those off, you never have to worry about them again. They're gone. I've never had a melanoma. A good buddy of mine, another flying buddy from the Air Force, and he's darker complected than me. I am the original white guy, like George Carlin used to say. He can never hope to get a suntan. All he ever hopes to do is to neutralize the blue. Now my buddy has suffered several rounds of melanoma, and he's very fortunate to still be with us. But he's still going strong. But again, every time he goes into the doctor, they find something else. And I have my next appointment with the dermatologist coming up in September, and I'm sure they're going to find something else, and hopefully it's not going to be melanoma. But I wear the Day Glow Orange to enhance visibility out here on the road. I've also got on a Day Glow Yellow safety vest over the top of that, and I got a Day Glow Yellow Surface safety helmet, as well as the helmet has a red strobe light on the back, and I've got a white strobe light on the front of the bike here, and another red strobe light on the rear rack of my bike. So anything you can do to enhance visibility will hopefully keep you from getting run off the road, or worse yet, hit. Now we just now hit I'm looking at the wrong mileage. We're just now coming up on 20 miles, about another. We're at 17 and a half miles right now, and we're down to 54%. So hopefully we're going to hit at least 35 miles. But I'm going to pause the video again, and I'll see you at the next milestone. Hey guys, welcome back. The navigational skills that I have retained since my pilot days ended never cease to amaze me. We have arrived back here in Fort St. Clair with precisely 25 miles. And I even managed to not get lost. Never mind the fact that a real aviator never gets lost. He is merely temporarily disoriented. But be that as it may, we have 31% of our battery power remaining, and hopefully we can get another 10 miles out of this puppy. I expect that the battery power will begin to drop off rapidly as we progress beyond the 25 miles. So we're just going to cruise around Fort St. Clair here and see what happens. So if you want to stick with me, see if we can find something else to talk about. Since the advent of social media, I'm very glad to have made the reconnecting with many friends that I've had over the years. You know, since I've been in the military for a career and the airlines, I have friends from all over the world, and I've managed to stay in contact with a lot of them. Just this past weekend, I went to my 50th high school reunion from Pontiac, Michigan, so that's about a 4-hour drive for me. And I was a real lucky kid. I never had to change school systems from kindergarten all the way through high school graduation. So I got to see some people that I went to kindergarten with, of all things. And so it was just a lot of fun reconnecting with all those people. And however, I'm very dismayed at how many of them grew so old. And a lot of them I recognized right away. One guy I recognized from behind, and then he heard me talking to somebody else, and he recognized me just by the sound of my voice. At any rate, we had a real good time. It was nice to get back to the homestead where I grew up. And where I grew up was the auto towns of the Detroit area. I grew up in Pontiac, and we had GM Truck and Coach, Pontiac Motors, General Motors headquarters, and Fisher Body. So everybody that I knew, their fathers worked in the automobile industry. My dad was a truck driver, contracted to haul for GM Truck and Coach. And pretty much everybody was connected to the auto industry in one way or another. And a good number of the people that I graduated with, they all worked in the automotive industry as well. But I broke out of that and got into the military and flying, and ultimately to the airlines. And it was just a super career. So I can't ask for anything more than that. And like I've said many times before, I'm very blessed to have a career that I never considered to be work to begin with. And I sure miss all my flying buddies from both the military and the airlines. A lot of camaraderie there, and I have a few that live in the area here, but we don't see each other very often. Most of them are younger than me, so they're still working. So they're on the road, still flying. But I get to see a few of them every now and then. But thank goodness for social media that I can keep track of everybody else on Facebook. And I think a lot of people have problems with Facebook, as I do, you know, with the invasion of privacy and the gathering of personal data and things of that nature. But it has served its purpose as far as keeping people in touch. And I've got a total of 8 children, one of whom has passed away, unfortunately, and 21 grandchildren, so I get to keep track with most of them on a regular basis too, just to see what everybody is up to. Now earlier today, I was going through my Facebook pages, and I ran across something from 10 or 11 years ago. It was a promotional video from the company that I worked for, just showing the progress that the company has made since its founding. Relatively young company. It was founded in 1992 or 3. And so what's that make it? 30 years old now. And I was with them for 22 years. But it brought back a lot of memories as well. Now we're coming up on the back of my car. Let me get back to my e-bike program. And it's showing 26.4 miles. So we'll see how far that takes us. We're at 28% battery power. Get back to the camera mode. from the looks of things, I think we may do okay. 26 miles. We've only got 6 miles to go to equal the distance I went last night. Still at 28%. But like I said, I think that it's probably going to drop off pretty rapidly. Now, the buddy that I mentioned earlier that is getting me into the carnivore diet program, he had watched one of my videos and wanted some more information on e-bikes. And so I spoke to him for about an hour. And, you know, we haven't seen each other since the early days of pilot training in 1975. But it was really good to talk to him. But he is getting a bike from the EBC company, that is the electric bike company, not to be confused with the electric with an L company. And from what I can see, they're one of the better companies out there. And I may have made a different choice if I would have known about them before I bought my Aventon. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm very pleased with my purchase. However, the EBC company is offering a 10-year warranty on the bike and the motor, and a 5-year warranty on the battery, and they manufacture their own batteries in-house. And they more or less have an a la carte bike menu. You choose all of your different accessories, and if you order fenders, for instance, they charge you money to paint them in the color that you ordered your bike in. And so that kind of nickels and dimes you a little bit and drives up the price of the bike. But you consider that warranty, it may be worth it. Now, Russ of Russ Is Right YouTube videos has reviewed the EBC company's bikes, and so you might want to look for one of his videos on the electric bike company. I don't think he calls it EBC, but it is the electric bike company, so look for those. I'm going to pause the video because we've got a ways to go here, and so I will cue it back up when we're probably about out of battery power. See you in a few. Hey guys, are you still with me? We just went over 30.7 miles and we are down to 9% battery power. So stick with me to the end here and we'll see how far this puppy takes us. Oh. Got a lot of people in the park tonight. Looks like we got some little guys playing soccer over here on the left. And earlier the Eaton High School cross-country team was out here practicing, but I guess they're all gone now. So other than that, looks like it's just going to be you guys and me till this battery peters out. Like I said, I would have preferred to have a second battery before doing this battery check, but I wanted to make another video on that. And speaking of the channel, this video will be out in the next couple of days. Today is the 8th of August, so it should be out by tomorrow evening, or at worst the morning of the 10th. But the viewership is beginning to increase. We're over 300 views on the videos that we have, and that doesn't sound like much, but it's going to take a while. Other YouTubers say it takes a good year to 2 years before you really get your viewership up, but it's increasing every time I put out a video. Trying to get some coverage on Facebook through other e-bike pages, and also just putting it out on my main page as well. But if you guys hit like and subscribe, as well as share it on your social media, that'll help me out tremendously. I can't believe some of the videos that people have, some of the most innocuous little things, but they've got viewership in the thousands. Now, Russ is right. He's got over 1,000 videos that he's put out over 4 years, most of them on e-biking. But he's got upwards of 15,000 plus subscribers to his channel. It's just unbelievable. But it all depends on putting out interesting topics and quality content, and I'm working on that. And it also helped me a great deal if you guys could make some comments and with any suggestions that you might have to improve the channel or subjects to cover. So I'll be happy to look at them, and maybe we can do something about that. We're still at 9%. And it looks like we're at, let me switch back over to the e-bike program. We're at 31.6 miles. Now right here, this says 29.6, if you can see that. I had a little faux pas, and I had both my fitness program and the e-bike program queued up, but then when I got started, I forgot to hit start on both of them. So I realized that when I had gone around Fort St. Clair the first time, and so I said, okay, I'm just going to go around one more time, and then when I exit the park, we'll click start, and I'll just add 2 miles to the total mileage. So this says 29.7, so in reality we're at 31.7. And I've measured this pretty closely, and once around the park, it's pretty much a mile. Now we're at 6:45 right now, so the traffic is beginning to slow down. And as I'm going up this hill, I'm slowing down too. And I gotta say, the wear and tear on my behind, this ride has been taking the toll on more so than my stamina. So prior to this, I thought pretty highly of the saddle that I have, but I may have to reconsider and get something that's better, because my behind is really aching right now. So every now and again I have to stand up in the saddle to relieve the pressure on my buttocks. Okay, 32 miles, and this is just about where we petered out the other night at 5%, and that's where we are right now. Just a very short distance, we went from 9% to 5%. So it may go from 5% to 0 at any time. And my car is just about 100 yards in front of us, so now would be a good time for it to drop to 0. But if we have to walk, it's not going to be very far. And I've seen some other mileage checks on people's bikes. Now, it just jumped up to 7%, so it's going to fluctuate a bit. Anyway, I've seen people run their bikes down to 0, and they were still going. Now, it probably wasn't for very far, but hopefully I'll be in a position to be real close to the back of the car when it finally does peter out. Now that electric bike company bicycle that Russ of Russ is Right, I don't remember which model he had. I think he had a Model S, but I'm not 100% sure. But the bike was given to him by the EBC company, you know, to give a review on YouTube. But they allowed him to deck that bike out with all of the bells and whistles that he wanted. And believe it or not, with a base price of around $2,000, he decked that bike out in a total of $5,600 in accessories and paint jobs. And that included 3 batteries. He's got one on the main frame of the bike, one that's in the front basket, and one that's on the rear rack. And as you can imagine, you know, those batteries are 7 to 9 pounds a piece. So at the very minimum, he's got 21 pounds just in batteries. But I'm not sure if any of those are hooked up in series, or if he is going to have to, you know, run the battery down as far as he feels like he can, and then disconnect and reconnect to the new battery. I'm not sure how that works on that particular bike. But like I said, you might want to take a look at the review that he did of the electric bike company. I think it's Model S. And I think you'll really be pleased by what you see. The bike really looks good. But by the time you add a bunch of their accessories and extras, like custom paint and what have you, it can get real expensive. But, you know, the basic price of the bike is not out of there, but they do have a lot of a la carte items. Whereas, you know, a lot of bike companies like Electric and Aventon and others, you know, they run specials where they give you accessories for free with the reduced price of their bike. So that's not a bad deal. And EBC, they may do the same thing, but I don't know. They seem to be, you know, the top tier of bicycles. So take a look at them and see what you think, but I think you'll be impressed by the warranties. Now we're still at 7%. You know, like I said, it dipped down to 5% at one point, but it's still at 7, and we're at coming up on 33 miles. Yeah, exactly 33 miles right now. So we've surpassed the distance that I got the other night. That was 32.4 with 5% remaining, and we're still showing 7. Now, I don't think I mentioned what I'm recording on. I have a GoPro Hero 10 that is on a chest mount, and rather than having any expensive and elaborate Langolier microphones and transformers and things of that nature wired all around my body, I decided to take a chance on the GoPro accessory that's called the Media Mod. And whereupon the GoPro has 3 built-in microphones, I think 2 in the back and 1 in the front. And the Media Mod is a case that you insert your GoPro in, and it disconnects 2 of the microphones. I think all it leaves running is the front, and then it has a foam rubber mic muff that covers that microphone, and that cuts way down on the wind noise. Now, we had a lot of wind today. It has settled down quite a bit. For a good portion of my ride, I was going westbound right into the wind, and in 9th gear with pedal assist 3, 17.5 miles an hour was about all I could get out of this thing without, you know, really turning on the effort. I didn't want to do that. But then when I was running with a tailwind with the same settings, I was getting 19 to 20 miles an hour. But I'm pretty confident from what I've seen in my previous videos that even with a significant amount of wind, besides the wind from, you know, the motion of the bike, that did a pretty good job, and you shouldn't hear a lot of wind noise in the video today. Now, I just glanced down. We are at 0% battery power, and I'm still moving. We're at 33.5. So I'm going to go as far as I can and see how far this thing takes us. I'm not very hopeful that it's going to be very far. I don't think I stated it during this video. This Aventon Aventure has a cadence sensor. The latest and greatest Aventure, it's called the Aventure 2 that came out this past spring. It has a torque sensor. The cadence sensor just senses when you are pedaling, no matter how much or how little. And that's when the motor kicks in. If you're not pedaling, the motor stops. It also stops when you get to 20 miles an hour. And that's in any pedal assist level 1 through 5. If If you have zero pedal assist, the motor's not going to kick in at all. It's just going to be you. But it is a big chore pedaling this 85-pound bike. And as I glance down, the battery jumped back up to 3. Now it's back down to 2, but it's still going. Now getting to the torque sensor that the Aventure 2 has, that senses how much effort you're putting into the pedaling. So if you want more of a workout, you're going to want the torque sensor. But for an old fat guy like me, I think I prefer the cadence sensor. Now, I've never ridden one, but just from what I've heard, I think I prefer what I've got. Because I want to get a workout, but I don't want to have to work too hard for it. Now we're back down to 0%. I'm going to coast down the hill here. And let's see if we have any pedal assist left when we get to the bottom of the hill. Now just coasting here, I'm hitting 25.7. Now we're slowing down. Down to 20 miles an hour. Now it's jumped back up to 6%, so that coasting must have helped it some. We may be riding for a little bit, who knows? But we are at 34.2 miles. I would like to hit 35. It looks like we will, because then that's at least 10 miles within the 45 miles that they claim. So for carrying this extra weight, that's not too bad. Just to stay off the road and shorten things up a little bit, I'm going to go the wrong way up this service road. And going up the hill, I still have 5%, and I still have pedal assist. Still 2%. And the boss is calling. Hey, sweetheart. Let me turn on the speaker. Okay, I got you.
I'm sorry, did I mess up your recording?
No, you're good. I'm still riding. I'm down to 0% and it hasn't quit yet.
Did you get my message?
No, I've been riding the whole time. I'm going to be done real soon, so let me call you back.
Well, I just want you to pick me up some light.
Okay.
And hurry.
Some what?
And hurry, I'm in pain.
Okay, it won't be long.
Alrighty, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That phone call screwed me up. Still showing 2%. Coming up on 35 miles. Now that was Mrs. Freight Dog. She said she's in pain and she wants me to pick up some wine on the way home for her. I would love to have some with her, but I can't partake since I just started this diet. I would like to be known just as an old guy instead of an old fat guy. Now down to 1%. We're going to coast down this hill again, see what happens. Almost hit 26 miles an hour. And the battery's still at 1%. And we still have pedal assist. It's getting toward dusk, and I'm starting to suck up some bugs. Actually, I'm surprised that I haven't been hit by more bugs than I have on this trip, particularly out in the farm fields amongst the corn and the soybeans. Now back down to 0% again. As you can see, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But if you're out in the middle of nowhere, I would definitely be heading back for home or your car. Yeah, it's just bouncing between 0, 1, and 2% right now. It's not giving me much pedal assist going uphill. Let me see if there's anything in the throttle. No, nothing. That was pretty much all me going up the hill. I can hear the motor beginning to kick in a little bit. It just didn't have enough oomph or torque to get me up that hill. We are at 35.4. I don't think I'm going to try to go around one more time. That's pretty close. Let me get by all these people. Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you guys? Oh boy. Okay, as you can see, we're ending the workout. It says 33.5, but it's 35.5 in reality. Average speed is 16.3. Took us 2 hours and 3.2 minutes. So all in all, I don't think that's too bad. That last little hill kind of kicked my tail a little bit, but considering that I've gone 35 miles, I think that's pretty darn good. So on that, we shall end the video. So thanks a lot for watching. Again, hit like and subscribe, share, and give me some comments. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much.